And we continue here on AOA Live at the 2025 National Farm Machinery Show in Lousiville, Kentucky. We are with our friends at AGI here today, booth 7423. If you're going to be at the show here yet this week, swing on by, say hi to them. They got a great display, a lot of products, a lot of pieces of equipment that could be beneficial for your operation. So make sure you stop on by and say hi to the folks at AGI. We want to talk storage trends as we get into 2025. That's a key thing right now. There's a lot of talk about retrofit and how can farmers make things work on their operation. Joining us, he is AGI's VP of U.S. Farm, Scott McKernan. Scott, it's great to see you. How are you?
Great to see you, Jesse. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well, thank you.
So before we really get rolling, give me the AGI update. What is AGI doing in the bin space? What is making you guys different and stand out here as we get into 2025?
Yeah, Jesse, we're doing a lot. We have gone through a bin standardization process where we've taken the best features and benefits from both of our bin lines and consolidated them into really the best accessories and bin for the market. We understand the challenges that are out in front of farmers today, and we want to make sure that we've got a really good priced product coming to the market that's really safe and gives them the best features and benefits. So our accessories are built around safety standards that are really important to the farmer, and all of our accessories are built robust. So farmers are safe when they're using our bins.
And we've talked about that safety aspect many times, and I know we're going to lean into that here in a minute. What are you hearing from U.S. farmers right now, though? What are some of their biggest challenges when it comes to storage? What are their biggest opportunities? I mean, let's talk about that a little bit, because we know that farm economy is not in the best shape right now. I know it's a concern out there. I mean, how is that all playing into what we're hearing about storage and more on the farm?
Yeah, challenging time for growers for sure. And we're right there with them. I think probably the most important thing that we're hearing, and I think that this is key, is to really review what you've got and make sure that, we talk about the review, repair, replace. And you've got to have a good farm plan, not just for today. So if you're adding storage, you're repairing storage, you got to be working with a really good dealer. We got a vast dealer network that is looking at what you want to do over the next 3, 5, 10 years with your farm, and what purpose you're growing for, to make sure that we've got the right products, the right sizing of bins, and we repair the stuff that makes sense to repair, and we add or replace the things that need to be replaced. So we're hearing from farmers, they've got challenges around, storage of the crop they've got and the crop that's coming this year. Obviously, it's early on here in the Midwest, and we'll be planting in the next few months out here. But really, farmers are looking at what's the best thing to do today. We got a little bit of bump in crop prices, which is good, which is going to allow them to maybe move some of that and look at a little bit of repair. But there's also a lot of discussion going on around the crop that's coming, what we're going to do, the opportunities, and making sure they've got enough storage.
And I think, the biggest opportunity piece there, in the last several years, a lot of farmers have been adding storage, and they've been adding quality storage. I think has been the key. That's a lot of what I've heard from U.S. farmers. Have you heard the same, Scott?
I've heard the same thing. You bet, Jesse.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's quality is the key. So let's talk about AGI's perspective here. And you mentioned a couple key things there: the review, repair, replace kind of strategy. So as farmers are emptying out their bins, how should they review the bin? What should they look for? Do you have any tips there, Scott?
You bet. Yeah. So it's really important as farmers are emptying their bins, make sure that their floor is in good condition. Get it fixed. Make sure that the aeration with that floor is in good condition. You're getting good, efficient aeration coming through the fans. Make sure that your fans are in good working shape. Last thing you want to do is throw grain in a bin and have these things not working for you. So, inspect your fans, inspect your floor, and finally your unloads. Inside your bin, make sure that your unloads are working properly, so that when you get you have the time to the need to unload that bin, that equipment is operational. Make sure that your vents are not clogged. Make sure that the whole bin, structurally, everything going on is in really good shape.
Well, I think about this, it's kind of like everything else, just looking at the overall health of your bin and the
You
bin
bet.
structure. We're talking with Scott McKernan, AGI VP of U.S. Farm, and you mentioned the repair part as well, and that's important, but I know I mentioned this at the start of the segment, the retrofit aspect. I've been hearing a lot of farmers are looking for ways to improve maybe some of their older equipment, their older bins that they have on the farm, that storage that maybe needs a little more love, so to speak. I mean, are there some retrofit things that farmers can do from AGI? Talk about that.
Yeah, so you can add to your bin, your existing bins, you can add some rings to them. If you want to add just a smaller amount of storage, we talked a little bit about repairing floors, but floor replacement as well. Or if you don't have a floor in that bin, you can put aeration floors in. Upgrade your fans and your unloads. They're retrofits that make your operation more efficient. So you got to make sure that the stuff that you've got, if it needs repair, you get it repaired. But you also can upgrade this stuff to the next version. Get fans that meet your purpose of what you're growing for. Get an unload that makes sure that it's aligned with the capacities that you need, and make sure your bin storage is the right size. So we've got all of that equipment for farmers through our dealers out in the market and available.
And it's kind of what you alluded to earlier, going through that checklist and making sure that you have that farm plan, and whether it's a repair, a retrofit, a full replace, an addition. I'll throw addition out there as well. Maybe you want to just build something brand new too. I mean, just making sure you have that full plan is kind of the big key, right, Scott?
You bet. And I think that all of us are susceptible to this. We think, hey, we want to add storage, but we really are not planning for maybe 5 to 10 years down the road. So we might put storage in an area that isn't conducive to future expansion. Mm-hmm. So we got to be mindful. There's a great dealer network out there. These guys really know what they're doing. They can walk in and look at what you want to do and give you a plan for the future that maybe you just act on part of that plan today, but it's there for the future, so that as you want to grow and expand, you're not spending money and then having to redo things down the road.
We got a couple minutes here, and I wanted to ask you about the safety aspect of all the equipment that AGI makes, because you and I have had this conversation before, and I think that is a key hallmark of what you guys do, is that trying to find these solutions for farmers that keep them safe on their operation.
Yeah, that's right. So our organization is grounded with safety from the top down. And AGI leads in this space. We want every employee at AGI to go home safe every day. Mm-hmm. We appreciate our team. We want to make sure they're safe. And that transitions out to our dealers into the products that we design for growers. So, that whether it's our bin accessories and making sure that they're safe and strong, so that when guys are climbing on a bin, they're safe. Or whether it transitions to our bin monitoring equipment that we think should be in every bin, Jesse, whether it's a new bin or whether it's an existing bin. Bin monitoring equipment does a lot of stuff for you from a safety perspective. It keeps us off the bin, right? We don't have to go up to the top of the bin and pop the hatch and try to smell to see if something's going on. We believe that bin monitoring, we lead with safety there because it keeps the grower safe. Why go try to figure out what's going on in your bin when you can look at it on your phone or on your computer? And our equipment that is in this space, Jesse, really does a lot more. It starts with safety, but then efficiency. So our bin monitoring equipment is automated to where it turns fans on when the fan should be going on. And it's got a weather station that's looking at what's going on with the atmosphere and pulling the right kind of air into condition the grain the way you want it. So it starts with safety, keeping you off the bin, keeping you out of the bin. And then it moves to efficiency and quality of grain. So that product, we really believe any farmer is going to put grain in a storage bin should have that monitoring equipment with it.
We got about a minute before the break. Anything final that farmers should know about improving the storage they have? What would you tell them, Scott?
I would say get a good farm plan, Jesse. It starts there. Get a good plan. Really take a look at what you've got. Make sure your equipment's in good working condition, just like all of the rest of your equipment on farm. Make sure that you're planning for the future. Get the right equipment in there to meet the purpose of what you're growing for. And we at AGI, we are doubling down this year on making sure that we've got parts and equipment sitting at all of our warehouses across the United States. So when growers have needs immediately, they don't have to wait to get stuff taken care of. We got a great dealer network out there, Jesse. We understand where farmers are today, and we're here for their repair needs, and we're here for their replacement needs, and we understand what's going on.
We appreciate the time. Scott McKernan with AGI. Thanks for being with us here at the Farm Machinery Show, and we'll look forward to talking again soon.
Great, Jesse. You guys are great partners. Thank you.
Good to talk with you. Scott McKernan, AGI VP of U.S. Farm, with us here at the National Farm Machinery Show. Aggrowth.com for more information as well. Up next, we're going to get some farmer perspective on AGI products. Ron Schroeder with Hartung Family Farms will join us after this on AOA. And as we continue here from the National Farm Machinery Show in Lousiville, Kentucky, we are with our friends at AGI here today. Their booth is 7423 if you're going to be spending time at the show yet this week. Swing on by, say hi to them. You can also learn more at aggrowth.com. That's their website. You can find details about their dealer network and much more. Right now, we want to talk and get a producer perspective on using some of AGI's products. Joining us now is Ron Schroeder with Hartung Family Farms in Preston, Iowa, East Central Iowa. Farmer. And Ron, it's good to see you here in Lousiville, Kentucky. Thanks for being with us. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. It's an honor and it's an absolute pleasure to kind of join our friends at AGI and kind of talk about some of the sweet things that we got going on here.
I was going to say, you were chatting a little bit before the show. Sounded like you got some snow back home. You were able to make it through the snow and get to Kentucky, though, safe and sound. So that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. I think we got 8 inches of snow, and for us cattle producers out there, it's always fun to deal with, especially when you get those higher numbers. You know, you got to go scoop out the bunks, make sure the cows have plenty of bedding and everything like that. Just an absolute blast.
I was going to say, calving season
just about starting. I think we had our first calf last week, I believe.
Oh man! So, nonetheless, things are going to be busy on your farm for a little while. Well, hey, let's talk about AGI and some of the products you use for them. And I know you're a big tech automation advocate. AGI's bin manager is kind of their premier technology automation products. So talk about that a little bit. Talk about some of those brains that you have in your bins, Ron.
Absolutely. So I am an engineer by trade, and I'm 30 years old. I love to kind of look at the next cutting edge, the next thing. How can we improve our farm? What gives us the best ROI? So just to kind of give you a little backstory, we haven't built a new bin in probably about 10 years or so now. But the last one we did, we actually had a hot spot that ended up damaging one of our bins, and that kind of got us to the point. Well, we're moving grain in and out of these bins so often, we don't really know what's going on inside of them. We don't know what moisture they're sitting at, if anything's getting hot. So that kind of led around us to kind of, explore what all products are out there. And that kind of led us to the bin manager platform with SureTrack. So what that is it essentially gives you eyes and ears within your bin. You got so much revenue and so much potential cash flow tied up in these bins. And if something were to go wrong, that could be, catastrophic to your farming operation. So I believe about 4 or 5 years ago, we added 6 of our bins hooked up, and they're just really cool because at the touch of my fingertips, I can kind of see cross-sectionally where my bin is at, what moisture are we sitting at, and you bring up the automation point. The next level of that, the first thing is identifying what you got. Then the next part is actually doing something with it. And that's where the ROI comes in. You got plenty of options, but if you got a good fan on there, you could actually rehydrate soybeans. That's probably one of the coolest things that we've done. This year, harvest, as for a lot of folks in the Midwest, it got dry really fast and didn't rain at all. So, our average soybean that we picked out of the field was 9% type of thing. But, the processor's not giving you a premium for being under 13% where you could sell them. So you're leaving 4% of water weight on the table. So we actually have one of our fans one of our bins hooked up right now, currently rehydrating beans up to that 12.5%. I mean, that's direct money into our pockets that this system is giving us.
Well, and I just think about so many of those things you laid out, the tech aspect of this and the ROI aspect, the safety aspect too. You mentioned a hotspot. I mean, things that you guys don't necessarily have to, the old days we had to climb in the bin and take a look at things, et cetera. I mean, now you can basically run everything from a phone and a laptop and monitor things, and then go in only if there is a problem and a need to, right?
Absolutely. The old tried and true method, either you got to climb the bins or after a snowflow, that bin doesn't have snow on there. Something's going on. Where now I'm 7 hours away from my farm in Lousiville, Kentucky, and I can pull open my app and say, okay, all of my bins are good. Nothing's going wrong. And even if there was a hotspot or anything forming, the cool part about that technology is they have folks watching these bins and looking for hotspots. And if there was something that would come up, they will actually text you, email you, call you, depending on the severity of the situation. So like I said, it's a really cool, and it's a big peace of mind, which is what we really like. It's just more or less insurance on that large asset we got sitting in our bins.
Ron Schroeder with Hartung Family Farms in East Central Iowa joining us here at the AGI booth of the National Farm Machinery Show as we talk about their use of Bin Manager on their farm. And talk a little bit more. You kind of mentioned how you could just pull it up on your phone and take a look at things right now. I mean, talk about, how it works, how easy was this to get installed, get used to? You guys been using it for a few years now. So, I mean, some producers might be listening out there and wondering, going, okay, how hard is this technology to use? So, I mean, walk us through some of that, some of the specifics of how this all got set up, how you've adjusted to it, etc.
Absolutely. So like anything, I mean, it takes a little bit of a learning curve, but the team at AGI and their dealers throughout the states, it had a great team to help onboard you, get the system installed. So once we actually purchased the system, the team got out and they got it installed. All trouble. I mean, we actually have, or no trouble there. We actually have cattle next to some of our bins. So we actually had one, within the first couple of days, had a cow go up there and rub against a harness. We had an issue. The team immediately came out and got that fixed. But once we actually had the system installed in there, it was actually really easy because they'll do an onboarding session. They'll walk you through, because all it is once it's going, you have a box with a couple switches on there. If you want to manually run your fan or have everything in auto mode, that is the only interface that I have to mess with on the bin. Everything else is through my phone. And then really once the team at AGI was able to get us onboarded, it was really easy to basically say, okay, my bin is at an average of 14%. I want to bring that up to 15, whatever it is. Hit a button. Okay, it goes to work. And then it's looking at, weather conditions and everything else inside and outside of the bin to basically say, okay, I'm going to run my fan right now. Okay, now it's getting too dry. I'm going to turn it off. So it's a lot that it's doing. It's pretty complex, but the user interface and everything, it really isn't that bad once you actually have everything set up.
Just kind of makes things easier on the operation. Gives you a little more peace of mind, I would say, as you're just looking at so many different facets, like you guys, a diversified operation. Just kind of gives you that peace of mind, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Like I said, you do the math on 40,000 bushel bin at the current price of $4.50 or so. That's a lot of money you got tied up. So having the ability to check on that at any point, having the ability to somebody watching that, I mean, that's worth a lot right there to us, because you never know when you got a hot spot that can, ruin half a bin or whatever it is. That's catastrophic, and nobody wants that.
You mentioned rehydrating beans right now. What about, though, with you guys being a big cattle farm as well, what's the impact on feedstuffs for livestock? I mean, what are some of the benefits maybe there with using some of this AGI technology?
Absolutely. I mean, we don't personally do it, but having the ability to monitor your grain at any moisture you want to put that in. If you wanted to put wet grain in, just say, like I said, at 20% to, feed it out however you would like to. The nice thing about that is, like I said, you can monitor it at the parameters that you set. So you put it in at whatever percentage. If you want to bring it down to 14, you can do that. If you want to raise it up to whatever you would like, that's the kind of the customizable interface that they got there. It's a pretty cool system.
Well, and I think about AGI's Bin Manager, and again, you're using a lot of technology, and I know the folks here at AGI, I've talked with them so many times. It just seems like they continue to be kind of on the cutting edge of delivering real world solutions for farmers that makes sense. That, again, it all comes back to that return on investment, Ron.
Absolutely. Because I mean, everything that we have in this day and age costs something.
Yeah.
But to me, at least, the farms that are excelling really are looking at your bottom line and looking at your ROI. And to me, like I said, the rehydration of beans is one really big, just pure dollars in the bank side of things. But also you think about it like this, from a harvest efficiency standpoint, if I can put corn out of the dryer, if I can save 3 points of drying and put it at 17% into the bin, and then let bin manager take it down the rest, that's going to speed up my harvest. That's going to make us more efficient. And it's probably going to be a little bit more cost effective as opposed to putting hours and time on that dryer and burning natural gas, whereas doing it over the course of a couple months through just your fans.
Yeah, that's a key point. It just makes everything more efficient. Final thoughts you would have for folks as you're talking about bin manager or any other tech that you guys use from AGI, et cetera? I mean, what would you want to tell folks? What would you want to reiterate to folks if they're looking at some of this new technology, thinking about it for their operation?
Absolutely. I mean, we're in a really cool day and age where it's awesome to farm today because there's so many different options for technology out there, and obviously the farmer's got to look at what fits your current operation, but there are so many things out there to make you more efficient. Look at your ROI, look at where your current gaps are, and AGI, to me, at least from a bin manager perspective, is a system that will year in, year out pay for itself, both in the peace of mind, protecting your grain, and like I said, like we already talked about with the rehydrating and dehydrating your grain. So that to me was one of the big things that we have made as an improvement on our farm. And you don't have to do it on brand new bins. Like I said, we retrofitted on 6 of our older bins. So it's not just 4 brand new bins. You could do it at any size. And that's, like I said, that's the cool part. That's the flexibility, and the team at AGI are willing to, like I said, they're willing to work with you and make anything work. And that's what's been awesome.
Absolutely. Got about 30 seconds here. I should ask, how were things fall harvest wise? I know everyone was kind of different this year. How are things on your farm?
No, we were pretty fortunate to have the rains that we did early in the season because they shut off pretty late, or shut off midsummer, I would say, but the yields were there. Prices obviously weren't, but you can't really control that. But honestly, the harvest was smooth. It was honestly too dry. This is probably the worst fire conditions that we've had in years, but everybody was safe, and it was we were blessed to have the harvest that we did, and we look forward to another year as we start in calving season. And it's Lousiville season. That means springtime is right around the corner.
Absolutely. And I should say as well, you guys got a YouTube channel. Folks, go check that out. Hartung Family Farms, right?
Yeah, sure do. Hartung Family Farms, been doing that for a couple years now. If you guys are actually curious, we have quite a bit of videos out there on bin manager. So if you guys are wanting some real world testimonials on the on bin manager working on our farm and how the value it brings, you guys can check us out there.
Ron Schroeder, Hartung Family Farms. Thanks for joining us here at the National Farm Machinery Show. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be back with more with our friends at AGI from Louisville, Kentucky on AOA right after this. And we continue here from the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville, Kentucky. We're with our friends at AGI, booth 7423. Joining us now, let's talk about grain handling equipment and replacements and retrofits and more. Kevin Primmer and Josh Kelly with AGI are joining us now. Kevin, it's good to see you again. How are you?
You too. Good. Oh, we're doing good so far. Been a good show.
Absolutely. Josh, and I think we talked last year at this show, didn't we?
We did. Yep,
So
we sure did.
Good to bring you in here as well as we close things out today.
Thanks for having us.
Josh, I'll start with you. Farmers, I know this year they're looking to upgrade, but budgets are kind of tight.
Sure.
If they cannot maybe buy a new auger or conveyor this year, what can they do to their current grain handling operation to make it more efficient? Talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Some other options, to take a look at this year are, some added-on accessories we can offer just to improve overall efficiency. It's very easy to adapt a remote electric power swing to your existing auger to where the swing can be controlled in and out underneath the semi by a wireless remote, and you're actually saving trips in and out of the truck, reducing operator fatigue, and also a much safer way to get the swing hopper actually under the hopper bottom trailer by utilizing that remote. And also with pairing that with an optional hydraulic winch to raise the swing away back up into its transport position. We can offer that option now with either hydraulic options or an electric winch to raise it up, back up into transport position, and just a more an easier way to do that by reducing the overall operator fatigue.
All right. Kevin, I see in the booth this week you're inviting farmers to demo the AGI Westfield Extend Retracting Swing Auger. So tell me about this, the who, what, when, where of it. I mean, how does it work? What's the benefits of this technology? I'm looking at this thing right here. I mean, tell me about it.
Kind of looks like a transformer in a way, but we're reintroducing the Extend. It's been available in Canada for about 6 years, and we're finding more and more interest in the U.S. because the Extend is fully hydraulic operational. So it allows you to reach both hoppers of your semi-trailer without moving the truck. So the tube telescopes in and out. So you pull your truck up and then you just drive the hopper under your truck and then swing it to each hopper, unload, and then drive it back out from under your truck. So it's something that's gaining a little more popularity down here in the U.S. with our double hopper bottom trailers. And we'll work and reach both hoppers on most trailers.
It kind of just helps with that overall efficiency.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. It makes you more efficient. You don't have as many truck trips in and out of your truck. Plus, it's safer because you don't have to lean over and pull your hopper out of the way. You don't have to climb the truck stairs 3 times and hope you don't fall and scrape your leg up and all that kind of stuff.
A lot of benefits to that. A lot of benefits to that. Josh, I'll come back to you. If farmers do need to replace, say, a new auger or conveyor, and they're shopping at this show or future shows or talking to your local dealers, I mean, what are some of the features they should be looking for?
Sure. So looking right now, a perfect example, we're going into our prime loadout season where there's a lot of bins being cleaned out, a lot of product being moved right now. Looking at a belt conveyor, a portable belt conveyor is a very efficient way to handle that. Efficient, gentle handling on the crops, and even, right now is the perfect time to look with a $750 rebate on our field loaders through the end of February. So that's a rebate direct to the end user. And now's the perfect time with the units in stock on dealers' lots that will qualify for that program. So,
Kevin, what about from your perspective? What are some things that farmers need to look at when it comes to features they should be thinking about?
Yeah, well, they can. We make both grain augers and belt conveyors. So if you're looking for gentle handling, efficiency as far as less horsepower requirements, things like that to run, to unload your bins, the belt conveyor is the way to go on that. If you have a more congested space where you need to have a shorter unit with that can be steeper and have different, PTO drive option, gas engine drive option, electric drive option, then you should look at an auger. But both items are really in demand right now as far as for farmers unloading their bins, and both are available for farmers to get right now at their dealers' lots. So it's a good time to be looking at what you need for your system, but then also you can see both in stock at dealers.
A couple minutes here. Final thoughts from both of you, and I know that also too the retrofit piece is kind of a hot topic right now. So maybe if you have some thoughts there, or other general thoughts as we kind of close it out. Josh, I'll go to you first. I mean, what would you add?
Sure, and it's the time of the year to kind of be looking ahead. I know it still feels a little early when looking at harvest, but it's a good time of the year to start getting equipment out, take a look at it, inspecting intake flights, hopper flight, those types of pieces that are easily replaceable, easy to update in the auger to kind of prepare ahead for fall.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kevin, final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I agree with Josh totally. Check those gearboxes in your swing hopper augers, make sure there's oil in them, check the bearings, and get all that stuff taken care of ahead of time so that going into fall, you don't have to do it at the last minute. We've been really trying to promote that this year, is just to, plan ahead, get these things ready to go, and it makes it safer and more efficient for you later on.
Kind of comes back to having that full farm plan and make sure everything is kind of up to speed. It just helps with that overall ROI on the operation, right?
Correct.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know both of you guys are in the Midwest serving folks, and you guys have a great dealer network. I know people can find their local dealer if they can't make it to this show, or aggrowth.com. I know it's a great way to start, right?
Yep. They can go in there and find their dealer closest dealer to them anytime right online.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate the time, gentlemen. Kevin Primmer, Josh Kelly with AGI joining us here at the National Farm Machinery Show. It's good to see you both again.
You too.
Yeah,
and
you too.
Appreciate a few insights into some of those AGI products. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks
Great.
for being here.
Thanks, Jesse.
And with that, we are out of time here today on AOA. Again, spending time with our friends at AGI at the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville, Kentucky. aggrowth.com. For more information, that's where you can find details. Coming up on our next program, we'll talk with Jerry Hagstrom of the Hagstrom Report, a new ethanol report out from CoBank with Jackie Fatka, markets with Arlen Suderman of StoneX. That's all coming up on the next AOA. For now, though, we're out of time. I'm Jesse Allen. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day.